Hi, I'm Karen, and this is Fave Lifestyles. Welcome to our episodes of Women Who Inspire. And today we have Micha Go Big, and she is from her coach. She is a coach, life and leadership coach of Go Big Coaching, and she guides women through the process of unlearning what holds them back. And a lot of times that's society, are things that we have grown up with, and so they can change the world one company, one community, and one boardroom at a time. Love our topic today, Micha. It is about done is better than perfection or perfect.
Yes. Thank you for having me, Karen.
Yes, well, welcome. You know, we had such a delightful conversation. I'm so glad you're here. And I love this topic because I know this is something that is really on the mind of a lot of women. We hold ourselves to this perfection. And so I'm so glad that you're here with us. Tell us first, so because we'd love to get to know the ladies who come on Fave Live. Tell us a little bit about you, kind of how you got here and what you are up to.
Yeah, so I'm originally, as you can hear by an accent, I'm originally from Germany, and I moved to the US permanently in 2013 to Seattle. I lived in the US before, and I had a background in corporate communications.
In a pickup line.
No worries.
Okay, this is a
Dr. Waters joining us.
this is a first. This is definitely a first. Okay, we are live, so I'm sorry, ladies. Actually,
It's real. It's real. So
my phone was talking. I'm like, how can my phone be talking to me?
we can handle it.
I'm sorry. I was trying to find my notes. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, so let's continue.
No worries. So, yeah, my background is in old tech, which is the German luxury car industry. I still have a small boutique agency for translations and editing and copywriting in that sector. And that's mostly now handled by a team in the UK and in Germany. And I did my coaching training before I came to the US. And a lot of the things that I use for my workshops and my talks today are all things I had to work through after I arrived here, because suddenly, I was full of self-doubt. I'm a confident person, but still suddenly it was like, who do I think I am? What do I have people to teach here? I don't have a corporate background in the US. So negative self-talk, imposter syndrome, perfectionism, self-sabotage, all that, people-pleasing, all of it. I could tick all the boxes. And so when I finally decided, no, but this is what I love doing. So I just have to get over myself here.
I love that. So you know what? You said you were a confident person, and that's what you exude too. You exude confidence, but to have those things that are going through your head, that's interesting. And we'll be talking about some of that here in a bit too. Yeah. So how did you get over that? How did you get through that? Where are you today?
So the first point where I started was just going back over my material from coaching training. And suddenly, of course, a lot of stuff that back then was like, well, okay, that's a thing, suddenly became very relevant because now it concerned me. So, of course, I found it a lot more relevant than in theoretical training.
Right.
So I started looking into especially things that have to do with the inner critic and imposter syndrome. So it's very closely connected. For many people, it shows up as I'm not good enough. For me, it shows more up as who do you think you are?
Oh.
Because yes, overall, I'm a confident person. Men tell me a lot that I talk too much and that I'm too loud, that type of thing. So that's where you get the, who do I think I am? That's my version of I'm not good enough. And I worked through that with a ton of different methods. So I can't even tell you which one worked because I made myself a checklist. I love lists. So I had like 27 things on my list and I just did them all, I guess. But what I really found is that you can shift your mindset. You have to dig a little into your past. But for most people, it's not that you really have to shovel all the way back through the beginnings. It's for most people who do not have severe trauma. That's a different story. That's when you need a therapist. But for lots of people, it's pretty easy to say, right, man, my mom always did that, or my dad always said that. And then going from there and say, okay, I don't need that anymore. I'm an adult. I don't need that anymore.
Yes, just to that discovery process. And it's interesting because I find that, our community here, we have a lot of entrepreneurs, but we have a lot of women who maybe don't own a business, but I find that no matter what position they are in life, whether they were a homemaker, retired, starting a business, a corporate woman, they seem to walk through a lot of the same thing, and how because it can affect your relationships, your business, your job, your relationship with your children too. If you are trying to be this perfect.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, if anybody told us that our brain is lying to us, we had a starting point, but nobody does.
Okay, well, let's talk on this a little bit. So. Yeah, so one of the things that you first talk about is why perfection isn't achievable and not a good thing to begin with.
Yeah. So if you are fine with being a perfectionist, don't worry about it. As long as it serves you, you're good. But many of us, me included, came to the point where it definitely does not serve us, but causes a lot of extra stress. It's not efficient because you spend so much time, like, if you're an entrepreneur, on the 17th review of your website, or the 17th edit of your newsletter, and in corporate you might spend a ton of time over preparing for a presentation, all these things. So if you are in that boat, then perfectionism doesn't serve you. And the point is, perfect just doesn't exist, right? Because nobody ever says, oh, I'm so perfect.
So tell me this, when people are talking about perfectionism and perfect, do you think they're trying to meet the expectations, do you think it of themselves or of other people? Are they trying to meet some kind of, self rules that they have implied that they have to meet whatever that perfect is?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is what I always call family, society, and culture. Because that's our network. So that gives us the idea of who we are supposed to be, and then, as one of my colleagues always said, and then we start shooting all over ourselves, right? And that's what happens, right? It's so interesting. I grew up in Germany. My business partner grew up in Singapore. You did grow up in the US here. We all have very different backgrounds, but most cultures, most families give us the same idea what a good girl is supposed to be like. And this perfection, this don't cause trouble, be helpful to others, is for most women part of their upbringing, and then it becomes part of their DNA.
Right. We hear a lot of things growing up, and how we're supposed to be nice.
Yeah.
They should have told us to be kind and not nice.
Yeah.
Like this, we shift those thoughts. Yeah. So how should we strive for excellence versus perfectionism, or to be perfect?
So perfect is always something we see in others. That makes it so frustrating. Because I mean, I'm sure when I tell you, oh, perfect, who do you think is perfect? And you have some idea. I don't care if it's an actress or an author or a politician. I don't know, but we only see it in others, and that makes it so frustrating. Excellence is something we can achieve.
Oh,
that's the big difference, and that makes it motivating, because it's hard to achieve excellence every day. It's somewhere between hard and impossible, depending on the benchmark. But excellence, first of all, it's achievable. Maybe not every day, but sometimes. And it's measurable. So no matter if in a corporate setting or as an entrepreneur, you can agree with whoever is involved in your team, in your structure, or with yourself, what your measure of excellence is.
Mhm.
And you can do that at home too with your kids. You can say, okay, this is good, this is excellent, right? You can set out criteria for that.
Excellent. Yeah. So that I should have been and put that into practice when my kids were younger. Now they're all grown up. I like that you said it's measurable, to have some things that are measurable, so you know where the action. Then you can also look at that action that takes to achieve those things. You can have a list.
Exactly. You can have a list, and there's nothing wrong with lists. I mean, we have to get out of our comfort zone sometimes. So, but there's nothing wrong with being organized and having lists if you are like me and like that.
Yes, I am. So that is an excellent marker that I am trying to achieve, is to be organized, to learn how to be organized. So I love that we can learn things and tap into people like you to just help us through these things and know that it's okay just to be us, and that we're not at that, we're not supposed to have arrived if we haven't gone through the, down through the journey yet, if you will.
Exactly.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about what steps to take to make that positive changes and free up our mind space and energy at the same time.
Yeah, so first of all, perfectionism leads a lot to procrastination and wasting time. So when you shift because you feel like, oh, I'm not good enough, right? And then you push it out. So the first step I used when I really went into working on not being a perfectionist anymore was being very mindful about how I structure my day, where my big time are. So if I know that, let's say, I would tell my assistant, this is something you should be able to do in an hour or two. Then I can do that with myself too. Yeah. So that's where I love time blocking.
Yes.
I'm not going to the extreme like some people put everything on their calendar. I don't do that because I want my mornings before 8 or 9 o'clock. I get up early, but I want the first 2-3 hours to be open. Other people, I have colleagues who have like meditation and workout and everything little bit on the calendar. But time blocking, the most important item on my list and the most used on my Google Calendar is blocked time. So when I make an appointment, I think about, do I want half an hour or an hour before or after? And I put block time.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So that is one thing where I start with the time blocking. And if it's a bigger project, have checkpoints so that you enjoy the process, that you're not so caught up in the result. I know that sounds easier than it is, but
so how would you do that? Like, let's say you have a project going, and that's ladies who have, whatever it is, a home project or a business project. How would you what kind of check marks would you have along the way so you would enjoy that journey?
So for instance, if you have a crafts project, because I'm using crafts project as an example because it's very similar to, let's say, preparing a presentation, corporate presentation. So, okay, first of all, start with your vision. Start with what would make you happy as the outcome. Oh, go to an emotional place. And that this would make me, I can see that this is my why. Like, for instance, I'm reupholstering a couch I inherited from my mom. Because I'm a crafty person, I enjoy that process. So really get into the vision, like how you see that as a connection with your family, and then really tie down that vision. Why are you doing that? You want that connection, or is it, might be something else. And then just, first of all, list all the things that are involved in that. And it doesn't have to be in order yet. And then I usually try to mix up like the more designy stuff. I would mix up with the more technical stuff because you probably like one part better than the other.
Right.
Most people do, right? And so that you have a little switch, but always keep that vision in mind because that gets you through the steps that you don't enjoy that much. And every project has those. hopefully not too many, but
Yes, if you have just those little road markers along the way to just stop and go, hey, I get to enjoy this.
yeah. And
Because
reward yourself. Reward
what?
yourself. Give yourself a reward. Let's say,
love rewards.
yeah, exactly. Let's say with the home project, okay, when I have my mood board with the colors and everything, then I'll take a day off and drive out to the beach or something like that. With the presentation, same thing. When I have my content research done, I'll give myself a full weekend off where I don't work or something like that. So usually an experience, not a thing. Experiences are better as rewards than things. Things don't keep us keep going that much.
Excellent. I know sometimes one of my, and the ladies who are listening, if they want to comment and all, what is something that, an experience that you would find as a reward? One of mine is I take myself out for a walk. If I get something done in the morning that I really needed to do, it's like, okay, I get to go for a little bit longer walk.
And just walk is high on my list too. Naps are very high on my list as well.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Would be great.
Not happen too often, but that's the reward character, right?
Right. Yes, I think we should all start that list of what would be some really great rewards to those experiences that we would enjoy along the way. So I love that. Like, great ideas. So what I was thinking of something else too. What are some other little steps that you can take to kind of just start changing your mindset when that doubt comes in?
So I feel that the most important thing you can do if you are a perfectionist and you're struggling with this is, sensitive ears, so learn what to half-ass. I'm sorry, that's really, but make a list of your regular day, not the perfect day, just like your average day. What are all the tasks you're doing? And then decide what's important. What is at the core of what I do? So I would never recommend to an entrepreneur to half-ass product development or service provider neglecting your service. But there are tons of things where 80% or even less is more than enough. So if you have your list of your typical day and you take out all the things that are really important, not urgent, important. And then you have a list of tasks that just come up. So, and then you choose one or two things and say, all right, I'm not giving them my all. Start with a side project that doesn't mean too much to you. So for me, it was email. That's the thing. That's the thing I do at maximum 80%. So that's not my main job, writing emails, but of course I'm writing a lot of emails a day. So what I do is I read it once more, I send it. No 17 rounds of edits. And people I've worked with, one of my workshop participants was said, "Oh, I'm half-assing dinner from now on." So I was super excited. Turns out she has a family of 3 kids, and she does not like cooking that much. And so she was stressing herself out with the perfect dinners. And what she decided to do, and I have talked to her since, and it has worked. She just said, okay, there's a Monday dish, a Tuesday dish, and so on until Friday. If anybody wants anything more creative, we can do that on the weekend. But while I work, that's like Monday is spaghetti day or whatever. Pizza is the Tuesday's pizza night. Wednesday is high on vegetables, whatever. But it's always the same. The kids don't mind.
Yeah.
And she has given up on the perfect dinner.
I like that idea.
Very young.
Yes. There's and I think that's what we can glean from each other too. And that's why I love bringing ladies here and seeing what we can apply to our lives. Sometimes it's these little things, like a tip like that, to what can you do at 80% that you don't have to do it at 100%. And then email too. We get so flooded with emails.
Right.
It's so hard to manage that. And so I like that, just to be able to, okay, I'm going to take that to 80% versus having to stress about, I've got to see every single email.
Yeah. And I have a typo in my email. Usually half of the people don't see it, the other half sees it, and it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, yeah.
Would you be willing to share your story that you were telling me before?
Yeah. So I wrote a newsletter yesterday. My newsletter goes out Wednesday mornings, almost every week, but not every week. But so yesterday I had my newsletter and I made a couple of last minute changes and set it for 6:30 this morning and walk my dog and come home at 7:30. And I have an email from a friend who's also a coach. It's like, hey, Micha, I just clicked your link. The link is broken. I was like, it led me to another site and it didn't work. It was like, oh my God. Oh. And for a moment, I got into that space. I messed it up.
I know.
Just for a moment, right? And then I took a couple of deep breaths. That's always the best thing you can do. Whatever happens, 3 deep breaths first. And then I realized it doesn't matter. I mean, it's happened quite often recently that someone sends in a newsletter again because there was a mistake in there or there was a broken link, and people I admire do it. So I went back to my email provider. I changed the link in the newsletter. I sent it out again with the remark in the subject line, link fixed. And what do you know? I immediately got a booking. So
yes, and
you said that earlier. Sometimes it catches our attention.
It does. And you know what, as I was thinking about this too, is that sometimes, do you think that it also makes you more human?
Yeah.
It makes the other people think that you're human. It's like, oh, she looks so perfect all the time, but you know what? She made a mistake just like me.
Yep. Yeah.
It's relatable.
And that's really the thing, right? We see perfection only in others. It's our comparison culture. And of course, I mean, yes, we are not sitting here in our, actually, I am wearing sweatpants, but of course I'm sitting in, there's sweatpants.
And slippers, you know.
Exactly. But we always see the perfect in others, and it's important to say, okay, we're still approachable and everybody's a normal person no matter what they have on Instagram.
Yeah.
And however perfect someone looks on Instagram, they have someone else at whom they look the same way we look at them. So that's just the next person, and people look up to you the same way. There's someone out there who thinks like, oh my God, she's got it all super together. And you're like, me? Who? Yeah, who? That's important to know.
That, you know, and it's so good to know. And that's what I love about going live, because we can just talk to the ladies, you know, talk to our community members and the women who are helping guide us in life and providing resources for us to work on these things, to know that done is better than perfect. Mm-hmm. You know, thank you so much, Micha, for coming and joining us. So let's talk about, just real quickly, you have a downloadable about perfectionism, and you also we're going to offer a free laser coaching session to ladies. So talk a little bit about both of those and how they can take advantage of that with you.
Yeah, I have a little workbook on perfectionism. So if you work through this and you have any questions, just ask me at any time. There's an email address, and the laser coaching is something. I used to have a discovery call like everybody else, and it didn't feel right to me. And then I was in an intuitive session in December with a couple of coach friends, and one of them is an intuitive coach, and we did word of the year. And I came into that session, I'm like, my word of the year is courage. That was it. But then, of course, I went through the 90-minute session with everybody else, and suddenly I had serving my ass off in 2021 as my guiding phrase. So it's like, thank you, intuition. All right, that is quite different.
Yeah.
And but it wanted out, so I said, okay, I'm just serving people this year. People want to be coached. I'll coach them once. So that's why I put those laser coaching sessions on my offer list. So under that's on my schedule now. Oh, it's 2 sessions a week only, because of course I cannot do that all the time. So it might be a few weeks out, but
Yes. So we will put your information, if you could go and put it into the comments, how they can, that downloadable link or the link to find that laser session. So, that is one thing just real quickly. And I see we have Deborah Trapin here watching with us. She says, love this. We all have someone we admire and people who admire us. We're all connected this way. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So, Micha, one of the things I think a lot of ladies who have never worked with a coach before, they don't really know what that's like. So I'm really glad that you're offering this, because a lot of ladies, when they hear a discovery call, what does that even mean? But I like to have something. What would they expect when they have this coaching session with you?
So I call it the coaching experience now.
Okay.
Exactly for that reason. Because I don't want people to think that I'm giving them a sales spiel. We are actually there and I'm coaching them so that they know what coaching is about. And so I coach around insights. And what the main thing is when you have a coaching conversation is that it is really your time. And for many women, there is very little time that's only about them. So even when I coach people at corporations, I say, I don't report back to your manager or HR or anything, nothing. This is just for you. So whatever you bring, we'll talk about that. And it's a little bit for those of you who've had a personal trainer before. You know that you can go to the gym and do your reps. And you also know that when you have a personal trainer, you just dare to go further because you have someone who has your back. And that's what a good coaching relationship can do for you. Yes, you can figure it out by yourself. Yes, you can get it done, but it can just get you to the next level faster, or it can give you the support you need. So you have someone in your corner, someone who has your back.
Yes.
That you see the stuff you can't see, because we all have our blind spots.
There you go. I think that's a great description, because I know how much I have benefited from coaching, and it's hard to explain that to somebody sometimes, that how wonderful that is to have that person that you can just speak to. So non-judgmental.
Yeah.
Give you some tools, help you, identify things like you said, your blind spots that you can't even see, and have that bigger perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I'm really glad that you're offering that, and I hope some of the ladies take advantage of that, because it sounds absolutely wonderful. And ladies, again, if you, I love this title, done is better than perfect.
Always is.
So that's going to be our theme for the week. Let's try that. Let's take some things that don't have to be 100% down to 80%. Love all the tips that you gave today. And Micha, it was a joy to have you here today talking with our Fave Lifestyles community.
Karen, thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
Yes, so we will see everyone next time on Fave Live. Bye now.
Bye-bye.